It's time to discuss the Xbox situation because it seems like fans are in complete panic mode. Even the most dedicated of Microsoft supporters have started to realize maybe it's time to give up on Game Pass. Let's discuss. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I am actually recording this just a couple hours after Redfall has completely dropped, and it fell like a big ol' wet thud. I released my review that kind of went minorly viral, but a lot of people, it seems like, from major websites to independent reviewers to little tiny indie bits, everybody agrees that Redfall is a complete dud. The game is glitchy, it's unfinished, honestly, it's so bafflingly bad, people are wondering genuinely why Xbox released it in such a broken state. But I actually said this on Twitter. Starfield needs to be the best game ever, or I feel like a lot of people are going to start selling their Xbox. Now, I wasn't expecting this tweet to blow up and actually get so much traction, but what kind of shocked me the most is the amount of people that were straight up saying that they did. There are people selling their Xboxes to get a PlayStation 5. Some people are saying, hey, I've even listed my stuff on eBay. Nobody even wants to buy my Xbox or my accessories. Look at this. Man, people literally talking about the fact that, honestly, these acquisitions are the only thing that have stopped them from selling their Xbox Series X. Now, 2023 was supposed to be epic. Just back here in January, they did a big press conference hyping themselves up. They've been really trying to pound their chests. Last year, obviously, Microsoft had pretty much zero games. 2022 was one gigantic wasteland of releases. They had like a tiny game called Pentiment, and their early access survival game called Grounded finally released. But during the entirety of 2022, they kept saying, hey, 2023, this is when things get started. But here we are in May, and so far, even by their own checklist, it's not been great. Okay, so Hi-Fi Rush came out, people enjoyed it, but it seems like it didn't really make that much money. This was a lower budget game that really managed to make fans happy, but it wasn't that big blockbuster success that I feel like some people have been craving from Microsoft. Oh yeah, Minecraft Legends came out. I'll be honest, I don't know a single person who played it. Here we have the first actually major crazy game, the big exclusive, the first one in over a year, and it's Redfall, which I gave a 3 out of 10. Undoubtedly, it has been a rough time. Now, Forza's probably going to be pretty dang fantastic. It's always pretty good, but right now, a lot of people are just straight up saying, where are the games? This is stuff that we haven't seen for 3 years that Microsoft has said is in development. Perfect Dark, Avowed, Everwild, Fable, State of Decay 3. They have these big fancy graphics. This looks super cool. But look at this. How much of this stuff came out that people don't even discuss? Halo Infinite bombed. Gears of War, that was good, but it's completely dead already. Battletoads came out and it's gone. It just feels weird that a lot of the stuff is outdated and it's just wishful logos on the checklist. But I actually find it people just sort of spitballing the fact that it's still baffling that it feels like Microsoft is doing no quality control. This is an actual statement from Phil Spencer from last year, exactly 1 year ago, and he said this. He's talking about delaying Redfall, delaying some of their games to try and make sure they are better quality, and he said, you know what? It sucks. These are hard decisions to make, but we want to deliver quality and consistency because that's what's expected. Well, clearly, he knew this game was busted. If this game is in such a poor state now in May of 2023, in May of 2022, this game was probably literally unplayable. The fact that Phil Spencer is trying to act like this was for the greater good, they knew this game was absolutely busted, and now these are the people directly in charge of Starfield. I think, honestly, these Xbox YouTubers saying they're worried, I think is very justified. A lot of people are saying, hey, it's not fair to Todd Howard and the Bethesda team, but everything is riding on this game. If Starfield fails, the Xbox is going to completely crash in 2023. If it stumbles or disappoints in any way, let's just say I'll be curious if Satya Nadella, this guy, I'm so bad at pronouncing his name and I apologize for that. This is the guy who's the head of Microsoft right now, takes any action at the leadership level. I do believe, and a lot of people have been talking about this, I do think that Phil Spencer is going to be fired. I think Phil Spencer has been the head of Xbox, and he's talked a big game about the power of Game Pass, day-and-date releases, retro games getting boosted. But for all of his very big smiles and cool t-shirts and stuff, Phil Spencer definitely has not delivered on the promise of the future of Xbox. But that's why one of the most interesting tweets I saw was actually this guy. Ryan McCaffrey is a very, very dedicated, decades-long super fan of the Xbox. He runs one of the biggest Xbox podcasts on the freaking planet, and I don't mean that as an insult. I'm just saying that this is a guy that has a good memory, the good track record of how great Xbox used to be. And he said this, the Xbox 360 glory days were long enough ago that there's an entire generation of gamers who weren't even alive or too young for it. It's never been cool to them like it was to us. If you're Microsoft, that's a really big problem to overcome. Only A+ games can fix it. Essentially, he's saying there are people that are growing up playing Nintendo Switch or playing PlayStation games or even just jumping on stuff on PC itself, obviously, who have no idea that Xbox used to dominate. Xbox used to be the gaming platform. It's where you went for Halo. It's where you went for Gears of War. It's where you went for Blue Dragon. It's where you went for Lost Odyssey. It's where you went for Final Fantasy. Xbox 360 was the console to own, and now if somebody only owns an Xbox, they're missing out on such a big chunk of the gaming spectrum that it's kind of bonkers. In fact, this is the Xbox Series X subreddit, and let me tell you, people here are coping. They are having a very bad time. With a flop like Redfall, what the hell is next for Xbox? Are they really banking on the entire year just being for Starfield? Feels bad, man. I'm not sure what's happening at Xbox, but this is getting ridiculous. Now, the comment section is literally just all roasting Xbox. These are people that own Xboxes, that are Xbox gamers, and even they are clearly past their wits' end. What's next for Xbox? Probably more controller options and telling everyone that next year is going to be the year. Xbox is the Cleveland Browns of gaming. There's always next year. Literally, every single comment is so ridiculous. I wouldn't say they're banking everything on Starfield this year, but it feels like they're banking the entire decade on Starfield. By the time games start coming out for the Xbox Series X, the generation will be over. I mean, it's crazy. Literally, every single person is just saying, okay, like, Forza is going to be good, but where is everything else? Where is this year of games? I mean, in 2023, at the start of this year, there was talk about the Xbox onslaught, that they're going to have so many games, it's impossible to keep up. You're never going to want to lapse your Xbox Game Pass subscription. You're going to need to have your controllers charged. That's just not happening. And I feel bad because a lot of people are just straight up saying, like, okay, this is ridiculous. I kind of feel like Xbox has this generalized issue rather than iterating on games in development using a curated fan feedback. They just ship them out to die, unfinished and unready. Xbox is not in a position to keep doing this. This is a brilliant point. If you release one bad, broken game every year, people kind of forget about it. I mean, hell, freaking Square Enix dropped Forspoken just a couple months ago on PlayStation 5, And everybody just pointed and laughed. Everybody agreed that game sucked. It did not sell. And I think people kind of went, okay, Square Enix, that's a pretty big L. But then right after that, they released Live Alive and Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, and Final Fantasy 16 is coming out. So I think people are kind of like, okay, so Forspoken sucked, but then we have so much good stuff after it, you easily forget this mistake. Whereas Xbox is in a spot where they don't have that new big game coming out to help you forget. If Starfield is not amazing, if Starfield is not a Game of the Year contender, I do genuinely think people are going to start selling their Xboxes. I think people are going to straight up say, I don't care about this. If the console isn't going to give me good games, if the promise of Game Pass is just this vague amorphous blob, then it's not freaking worth it. Man, I'm even seeing stuff like this. It's probably worth asking at some point why Microsoft and Bethesda let Redfall come out in such a disappointing state. Was it worth that lack of major first-party title overlap, an assumption that more time wouldn't help, or was it just a need to get the game out the door? Who knows? It's interesting that we're all sort of just sitting here shocked about how badly Microsoft is doing. And even now, I'm still just kind of aghast. I'm not meaning to kick them while they're down. This isn't meant to be an insult to Xbox gamers. I'm just genuinely saying, I'm glad I own my PlayStation. I'm glad I have a Nintendo Switch. I'm glad I have a Steam Deck. And I'm glad I have an Xbox. But less and less do I feel like I turn my Xbox on. At this point, I play kind of everywhere else, and the Xbox is that bottom of the food chain. I do kind of feel bad for the people that only own an Xbox and only play stuff on Game Pass, because their drip feeds of content probably leave you very hungry. It may be the best deal in gaming, but if they keep just throwing you guys these pathetic scraps, it might be worth actually just buying games on a better console. But what do you guys think? Are you worried about the current state of Xbox, or are you still confident in Starfield? If Starfield comes out and is completely busted or runs at 20 frames a second, is that going to be good enough for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. I'm sure the comment section is going to be absolutely delightful. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.